Alright everyone, we are back to the tournament after I let out a little bit of steam in my last video talking about the frustrations it is trying to get stuff on sneakers. The app, if you haven't seen that video, by the way, this is a no shame promotion to go check that video out. I vented a little bit, but anyways, we are continuing the tournament here to just kind of figure out what is the best basketball shoe that I have in my collection, and today's matchup is a true contrast in style, price, shoe materials, makeup, you name it. So let's go ahead and start talking about the LeBron 7s and the Nike PG4s. So let's start it off as we always do with the traction, guys. And to me, both shoes perform pretty equally in this regard. I've played in both of them pretty much the same amount of times, and my experience in both of them was not bad. I honestly thought they were good. If I had to give the slight edge to anyone, I would give them actually to the LeBron 7s. These shoes are a little bit more heavier, and the makeup on the bottom is a little more traditional with that herringbone pattern. Although it's very interesting, it's like in these different sections you guys can see on the bottom there, and like these 4 different subsections, if you will. They perform great. I liked it a lot in that regard. I wasn't sliding around very much at all. And this, shoe itself was very responsive actually. PG4s, the bottom tread pattern is basically an updated style of what was on the PG3s, that crater-like design, and they've added a sort of inside crater and outside, if that makes sense, pretty much throughout the whole shoe. Traction was good on the PG4s, but the slight edge goes to the LeBron 7s just because of overall durability, and I think longevity of a shoe itself. The LeBron 7s are going to be a little bit better. So component number 2 is the materials, and to me this is a no-brainer, honestly. I'm going with the LeBron 7s. I think just visually speaking, as you guys look at the side-by-side comparison, there's just more appeal with the LeBron 7s. I know this is the Christmas colorway, so it's a little bit more of a premium marquee colorway than the PG4 Gatorades, which were the launch colorway for the PG4s. With that being said though, I feel like the shoe itself, you got a lot of great materials, and the shoe itself just feels really premium when you put it on. You feel good, you feel safe, you feel secure. PG4s, it's a little bit more of a tedious approach with this zipper feature, and then the sizing of the PG4s I think are another kind of Pandora's box, if you will. The sizing and stuff is really tricky. I think a lot of people recommend to go a half size up because of how narrow the shoe is, and then with this constricting zipper and then the tight fit, it's confusing, right? You don't want to have to switch up your routine with shoes to go up a half size because of how a shoe is set up. At least not for me personally. I can have, I wear a size 12. I want it to be a size 12 all the time. Consistency is key, and the LeBron 7s are a consistent performer. And in addition to that, this whole Max Air unit is really good, full length. The PG4s still have full length Air, which is comfortable and cushiony, and I think gives you maybe a little bit more court feel if you like that. But in all other essences, the LeBron 7s are a shoe that you'll feel safe in. It's a good lockdown setup as well, and then the cushioning I think is great. It's just a really much more complete shoe than the PG4s in my opinion. So edge, LeBron 7. So the third and final category, of course, is price efficiency. And it's interesting, in the first 2 matchups we have had the 2 shoes that actually won the overall matchup lose this particular category. And just to give everyone a reminder, retail on the PG4s was $120. The LeBron 7s, when they re-released, was all the way up to $200, which is a lot of money, right? I mean, it's really hard for me to fathom because when these originally came out, what, 10, 11 years ago, it was like $130 or $140. So these have gone up like $60 in 10 years. Thanks a lot of inflation. But on a more serious note, you know what? If you're trying to be on a budget, I think the PG4s are fine, but I would just say you need to go up a half size if you want to be really comfortable in them. I do have these in my usual size 12. They are a little bit tedious, but I did break them in over time, and they did get a little bit more comfortable, but it's just not the same as the LeBron 7s. These guys are actually really comfortable right out of the box, despite this whole Air Max setup and being a little bit clunky I should say, and a little bit more heavier than you might like in a shoe. It is comfortable, which I like better personally. PG4s give you comfort, but not to that same level, at least for me personally. I like a shoe that has this, really good cushiony setup, I guess you could say. But again, if you're on a budget, I'm going to give the price efficiency edge to the PG4s because they are cheaper, and you can see these guys for like $60 to $70 now. They're already marked down because I don't think the PG line is that popular. I think a lot of people were divided on the whole look of the shoe, and they're probably divided on how they feel about Paul George as well. Let's just be honest. So, money wise, if you're really like on a budget, go up a half size and check these out. I think for $200, guys, for these, there's a lot better options out there. LeBron 7 is still a good shoe, but it's not necessarily a great or elite level shoe that price tag requires. So, price efficiency is actually going to go to the PG4s. Alright, that concludes quarterfinal matchup number 3. We got the LeBron 7s advancing. It's a great shoe, premium price tag, but I think it's a good overall performer with a great cushion setup that's very comfortable, very durable. In contrast, the PG4s are a lot cheaper, right? Retail on these guys, as I mentioned, was $120, so $80, pretty significant difference between the two price points. If you're willing to go up a half size, I think the PG4s are worth checking out because they are a fine shoe. They just aren't quite as good as the LeBron 7s. Simple as that. I'm not going to do a bracket review this time. These guys will face either the Zoom Heritage N7s or the Jordan Jumpman Diamond Mids. We'll have that video, and then after we do that, all of the semifinal matchups will be set, and I will give you guys a review of how things are looking going into the final 4 shoes. So, until next time, guys, have a good one.